just call. Call Anajar and Levine for your absolutely free consultation. Do not settle for just any attorneys. Demand Anajar and Levine, and demand the Anajar and Levine difference. It takes just one phone call to begin to take back control of your life. So do that. Take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Hey Siri, call ESPN 1063.
ESPN 1063, hello?
Baba Booey, Baba Booey, Baba
Evan,
Booey, Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
Evan.
Listen to Unsportsmanlike weekdays, 6 a.m. on ESPN 1063.
I know it's you, Evan.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, ladies.
Check 1-2. Riz to Cape.
Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Live from the Kaseya Center right here in downtown Miami, Florida. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo. We got you now for Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Not in the studio today. It's a Monday edition. Week 8 of the NFL season has came and went. We got one more game tonight. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the New York Giants tonight. Got us on stream. Got us on ESPN on your radio dial. It's going to be a fun one. It's 2 hours of Russo and Rizzo from the Kaseya Center. It's Dwayne Wade night. They are honoring him at halftime tonight of Heat Pistons, which should be coming on here in a couple hours here. 7:30 tip-off for that one. Dwayne Wade announced this, they had the Dwayne Wade night, and they built a statue, which they unveiled outside the Kaseya Center, which is basically right in front of us. We're right next to the team store over at the Kaseya Center, so we got a live look at this entire statue. And listen, I'm going to rant in the parade a little bit. Everybody's thinking it. I'll say it. This statue stinks. This statue. And I'm a big Dwayne Wade guy. I was a Dwayne Wade fan when I was a kid. I loved the slasher mentality that he had. I loved Dwayne Wade. But that statue looks like Lawrence Fishburne. I don't know what I just went outside to look at it in my own two eyes because I saw the pictures and everything. So there was a whole bunch of things with that. And but this is Lawrence Fishburne. So I'm not too worried about this is not a great statue. I got to plead the fifth here. Is that Lawrence Fishburne? Is that The Matrix? Okay, Morpheus? Yeah. It's Morpheus. Okay. Yeah.
I think it's good, Colin. I think the statue's fine. It's D. Wade, man.
He needs a statue.
It's Wade.
But the actual quality of it.
Come on, see.
I mean, you guys can say whatever you want.
I like it. I like the statue.
And I know we love
Wade.
the Heat, and the Heat do a great job with us over at the station. But come on, did they have a picture up at least when they were sculpting this? I mean, I'm a little confused on the idea that this looks like Dwayne Wade. But he's going to be honored tonight between the Heat and the Pistons. That's tonight. I'm not a Heat fan. And it seems like, I know from you, you're a Cleveland Cavalier fan. You're definitely not a Heat fan either.
But I mean, looking back at the big three here in Miami, it was historic, man. I mean, it was you either absolutely loved them or you absolutely hated them. And at the time, I couldn't stand them because LeBron played for them. But now, looking back at it, LeBron winning a title in Cleveland, the big three was good. I thought it really set a tone in the NBA to where, it was kind of uncharted waters. You saw it a little bit in the Boston Big Three, but LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, those were three caliber of athlete and player in the NBA that have never been on the same team at the same time. Even go back to the 90s. I understand Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen. You had some loaded teams, but nothing along the lines of that. When I think of Wade, Colin, I think of instant action on defense. As a guard, he has the most blocks in NBA history. Great defender.
And one of the best slashers ever.
And that's what I think of Wade. And I like the statue. Come on, we like the statue. We're here to celebrate the statue. We're here to celebrate Dwayne Wade, one of the greatest I've ever seen with my own two eyes. We're happy to be here.
Right. I know I completely agree with the idea of getting a statue. It is the actual, I guess,
Execution?
execution is the word I'm looking for. Now, it sounds like the Miami Heat were not too involved, and this was Dwayne Wade with some external third-party statue guy. I didn't know those existed, but apparently there's a guy. And that guy is in charge of putting together all these statues around the NBA or around the NFL. And this guy is, from what I've seen, I didn't do a ton of research into it. This is the guy who did the Dirk statue, which is a great statue. He did the Kobe one. He did the Michael Jordan one. There was a number of statues I'm going to have to get a name, that the guy who did this Dwayne Wade statue did. I don't know if he was asleep at the wheel at this one.
Come on,
Dwayne,
Colin.
look at this. If you go to Florence, Italy, and you go to the Accademia, and you see Michelangelo and the statues that they make there, and you go to ancient Rome or you go to Greece, these are made thousands and thousands of years ago, and they've been preserved for years and years over time, and they look outstanding. And it's completely accurate. I don't know is the right word, but photorealistic. And this one they did out front of the Kaseya Center here in downtown Miami. Listen, if I were to grade, I'm not going to grade it because I think I'll spare them the terrible grade. But it doesn't look. I like the pose. I like the size. I like the location. The face. It doesn't look like Dwayne Wade. It doesn't look like him. And we're in the concourse saying this. There's no way that that the people disagree with that. It just doesn't look like him. And I saw the video of it being unveiled yesterday, and Dwayne Wade had a smile on his face, but I know a Hollywood smile when I see one, and that was one of them. This statue left a lot to be desired. Let's call it like we see it. So, but ultimately, I love Dwayne Wade. He was one of the first guys that really got me into basketball in the late 2000s there at the Miami Heat. And he got me into that slasher guard mentality. He was the best, and I'm happy that he's going to be honored here tonight.
I think, Colin, it's the gesture, right? It's the, hey, you're one of the greatest ever. Do it for this organization. We want to honor you and give you a statue. Now, maybe it could probably look a little more like him, but I think the message is that, Dwayne, thanks for everything. You're a Heat legend, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see him get honored tonight. And I think it's a great time here, and I'm so happy to be here in Miami.
Fun to be here in Miami. Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo. Of course, Cade Shumsden helping us out back at
You there, Cade?
At the studios. He's on the ones and twos.
You best believe I'm here.
There he is.
Cade's with us. Christian Cat, of course, is going to be at Game 3 of the World Series, and he got a surprise ticket.
I'll tell you what, he's going to run out of vacation days. That's my 2 cents.
Way to rain on the guy's parade.
2 week. Hey, listen, man. 2-week vacation to Rome,
That's
and then
true.
now he's taking days off to go to the World Series.
I would too. He's got the tickets to go to Game 3. That's tonight. Of course, the Dodgers up 2-0. They won on Friday night and Saturday night in Los Angeles. Now in New York. New York's got 3 straight in their ballpark. We'll see if they can salvage this. And I guess that's really the question. We'll get into that a little later in the show. On if the Yankees, is this salvageable? And I was on the team that the Yankees are going to put together a World Series performance that came out with them on top. And I think after Game 1 especially, that all changed. We'll get into the World Series later in the show. But
yeah.
Packed 1 o'clock slate of games yesterday. No teams on bye in the NFL. A whole lot happened. And it's almost like you don't know where to start. But I guess the highlight of the day was what happened with Washington. In that Washington Commander game against the Chicago Bears, a Hail Mary. How often do you see those, especially in the NFL?
Just bat the ball down. If you're the Chicago defense, bat the ball down.
And it was reminiscent of that Auburn play years ago where it just tips up and then it falls right into the breadbasket of a player that's Noah Brown that scored as time expired to give Washington the victory. What a terrific game, a terrific finish. And Washington's got mojo. And that tells you, that type of game tells you that all the dark cloud nonsense surrounding the Washington Commanders with the ownership and the terrible stadium, and they can never put a winning team on the field, and everybody else in their division is successful and they're not. I think that's all behind them now. And I think that game is reminiscent of that.
Let's be honest. If the Bears hand the ball off to their running back, they probably win the game. Why are we trying to reenact the fridge this past Sunday? Tevin Jenkins doesn't need a touchdown. And I understand Shane Waldron is I guess a proven commodity in the NFL. I don't want to personally attack Shane Waldron, but what the hell are you doing giving it to a lineman in a must-score situation? Give the ball to the running back that you're paying $80 million.
Had a good game, too.
Over 4 years. I just, Colin, what is going through their head giving the ball to an offensive lineman there? I'll never understand. And then
well, even the last drive, too.
Right.
I mean, Eberflus was not good to the media after the game, talking about how, blaming the players that somebody's got to be there with Noah Brown, and then talked about how that 14-yard completion to Terry McLaurin with 6 seconds to go. Romo had a great call there. Give Romo credit. In the moment was saying how the Commanders should, with the amount that the Bears were playing off, and they had about 70 yards to go, the Commanders should take their 14 yards with about 3 seconds off the clock. The Bears should have had somebody there and I guess planned accordingly for that, at least made it difficult. Mm-hmm. That was a free 15 yards there. I thought that was a bad move on the Bears' part, and Eberflus was very wishy-washy to the media postgame. So that was a problem. And I think how the Bears played it with Tyreek Stevenson, of course, mocking the fans and then going over there and being the last one who has his hand on the ball, that allows that Hail Mary to stay in the air and allows them to score a touchdown, is a bad look for the Bears. It's almost a bad omen game. Now, this is a bad mojo that's surrounding the team. Now, you lose in that type of fashion. Caleb Williams does not have a good game. I know he had the 2 good drives at the end of the game, but ultimately it was stunk in the game. They got shut down coming out of the bye, and they lose in such dramatic fashion where there was such a negative stigma with how Tyreek Stevenson handled it, with how Eberflus handled it, with how the offense looked. I think the Bears now are in a tricky spot with everybody else in that division winning games. You got to keep your head above water.
The problem is Minnesota's 5-2, the Packers are 6-2, and the Lions are 6-1. You hit the nail on the head with how competitive the division is. I do want to say this for the Bears. The defense is fantastic.
Fantastic. There's no doubt about that.
The defense is fantastic. I don't mind Eberflus being wishy-washy to the media after the game. I don't like him throwing his players under the bus. I did find that a little odd. But that's a tough situation, Colin. You got gut punch. Let's call it for what it is. The Bears got gut punched on that final play. I don't blame Eberflus for saying that someone has to be there, but say that behind closed doors. Don't say that in front of a microphone. I don't think this is a wheels fall off the train situation for the Bears. I think they have too much talent. And I think in a game where Caleb Williams didn't play at his best, we can't really say that, but man, there's no easy way to say that that wasn't a gut punch. That's the best way I can put it. You got absolutely gut punched.
And this is a situation, at least this past week, where a number of teams that sort of have that reputation, it's like the Bears are the Bears, the Jets are the Jets, the Dolphins are the Dolphins. Those are the type of teams where they find these strange way to lose. And I'm not going to say the Dolphins did. They just kind of dropped the game. But the Bears are the Bears.
But
that's what that game looked like to me.
I think the team has come a long way. I think they're a couple of offensive linemen away from truly being a threat in that division. I don't think anybody saw Minnesota coming like they did this year, maybe outside of a couple of people that covered that team and some of their fans. But the Bears at 4-3, I think, are very alive in that NFC. And they still have to play division games. They still have to play a lot of division games. It could either help them, Colin, or it could either bury them. And I think that they could compete with some of the brass in the NFC North. I don't think the Packers are world beaters. I don't think the Vikings are world beaters. I think the only world beater in that division are the Lions. I think the Packers are very beatable, and I think the Vikings are very beatable as well.
Well, the Bears in just a few short weeks have a slate that looks like this. Home Packers, home Vikings, at Lions, at Niners, at Vikings, home Lions, home Seahawks, at Packers.
Right.
And you're sitting at 4-3. So if you're 4-3 and you still have that stretch yet to come, I do not have a ton of confidence that we'll see the Bears come playoff time with that type of schedule.
No, you're going to need Williams to take a step here.
And he has. And, you saw slivers of it on those final 2 drives. He had that terrific drive at the end of the game where the improvisational skills that, Williams is, of course, highly touted for, you saw it. And you saw it on that play to Keenan Allen when he was rolling to the right, and Keenan Allen kind of wavered out after trying to chip off the offensive lineman. You saw it there. You saw him kind of using his arm angles, and all that stuff's great, but he can't get down the field,
and
quarter in and quarter out. That's the problem.
Partner, I'm sorry, man. 10-24 for under 150 yards. That's not it, man. That's why the Bears get those numbers right there are the number one reason the Bears got rid of Justin Fields. And I know Dan Quinn is a quote-unquote defensive guru. I know a lot of people talk about how underrated that Washington defense is, but those numbers are inexcusable for me. Jaden Daniels on the other end, 326 and a touchdown, no interceptions. Jaden Daniels outplayed the number 1 pick yesterday.
100%.
Let's not get it twisted.
There's no doubt about it.
I think if you ask the Chicago Bears behind closed doors, they're kicking themselves for not taking Jaden Daniels.
And you can't say that because I hate when people do that because for a couple of reasons. Number one, nobody was ever considering Jaden Daniels to be the number one overall player. Not a single person within the NFL, within college, within analysts. So nobody was doing that. So the idea that they, all of a sudden, because you see him a couple games, that now we're kicking ourselves, it was never going to happen. So sometimes these guys work out, and it seems like Jaden Daniels is in a little better of a situation because, that defense has played well. The coaching staff has done well. He has been fantastic, and they protect him. Williams does not protect him.
Now, the one thing I disagree with you there, I agree that he was never going to be the number 1 pick, and it's kind of
He was never going to be the number 2 pick until he was.
It's unfair to kind of do that. But I disagree with you. It is not a better situation. Caleb Williams is in the better situation. With the offense and the weapons, with the defense, Jaden Daniels, I think
Daniels is better coaching.
Okay, with Dan Quinn and company, I'll agree
100%.
with that. I'll agree with
Dan
that.
Quinn, and I think that Cliff Kingsbury offense caters to, which I think means more than the actual players around him. I think that is a better situation coaching-wise comparatively to Eberflus and Shane Waldron, who the jury's still out.
And the only reason I wanted to jump all over you for that was because all offseason I had here, and I was one of the people saying it, how great of it. This isn't your average situation for number 1 overall pick quarterback. They're ready to win now. I think with what's going on with the Commanders, to your point, has a lot to do with coaching, but also Jaden Daniels. I mean, the play from Jaden Daniels has been great.
It's been terrific.
And going into this game, I told you I liked Chicago and that 3-point spread. I kind of feel like a dummy now, and I think Washington proved something to us in that, to your point of theme and mojo, but also they could pull out a close game. They've been in close games. Now, earlier in the year, they were in a close game against the Giants.
They haven't won a gritty one. Granted, this was I wouldn't call it a fluke, but this was a complete magic victory.
It was.
God took the steering wheel on this one. It wasn't necessarily – there's a couple plays that the Bears did here and there that probably shouldn't have happened. They should have played somebody up when they got that free 14 yards with 6 seconds to go.
I know what they're saying in Chicago today. These are Justin Fields numbers. You didn't win. You didn't have a chance to win. You didn't have a chance to win because you're your quarterback.
Well, they did have a chance to win because they were leading with 3 seconds to go. So there was that. They were They were a tip ball away from winning the game.
Let me say this: the quarterback. I spewed that wrong. The quarterback wasn't the reason you had a chance to win that game.
You had a chance to escape the game.
Correct.
And that was the thing. If they won that game, that is an escape. That is what that game was.
And I think if you talk to a Bear fan today, they're doing the unfair argument that I brought up, though. Oh, my God, here we go again. We took the wrong quarterback.
Yeah, I think jumping to conclusions like that would be a little rough. Maybe that's what the Bear fan is doing. Ultimately, Washington's got some magic. This is the type of game that that personifies a team throughout the entire year, and injects them with life. As we'll break down the whole NFL slate, I want to do some Overreaction Monday coming up after the break, presented by Hard Rock Bet. It's Russo and Rizzo live here from the Kaseya Center on ESPN 106.3. It should be a fun one tonight between the Heat and the Pistons. Dwayne Wade being honored at halftime. His statue is basically right in front of us, and it looks a whole lot like Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix. That's just my take on that. I don't know if the Heat are going to get upset with that. I didn't make the statue, and if you guys didn't either, then we could all point fingers at the third party that put together that statue. I like everything else about it. The jersey looks good. The size. They even get the knee pads, the Dwayne Wade signature knee pads. And they got him saying, "This is our house." I like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know who did the face because it looks absolutely nothing like him. And, Wade's a good-looking guy. The face on that one, I wouldn't say that. So
it's a great statue, though. Everyone come on down and get your picture with it. Let's get to the Heat game tonight.
I would say come take a look at it for yourself.
Let's get down, Colin. Let's get down to the Heat game tonight. Let's get a picture in front of the statue. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun supporting Wade.
Full NFL slate. packed 1 o'clock slate. The Texans escape. Of course, the Cleveland Browns get back in the win
Yeah,
column.
we got to talk about
the
that.
Arizona Cardinals take down the Miami Dolphins. The Packers make it close with the Jaguars. Escape that one. Got a whole lot to do, a lot of overreactions to get to. Stick around. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 1063.
Tired of your sports commentary sounding like it's been crafted by a toaster with a thesaurus? Say no to AI Sports Radio. Hi, this is Evan Cohen, and nothing beats the thrill of hearing a real human fumble their words live on air. Say goodbye to robotic boredom and hello to the chaos of human error with ESPN 1063.
Hey, it's your boy JC reminding you to go on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe on Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The best from sports, stupidity, and social media. Exclusive on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Hit subscribe now.
Good Greek, moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. According to Lillian Rizzo of CNBC, Major League Soccer set a fresh regular season record with nearly 11.5 million fans attending games. The growth comes a year after the league implemented a new club performance unit led by Chris McGowan, which advises clubs on business strategies. The league, which saw its regular season end this past weekend, also experienced more fan engagement on social media and notches record sponsorship revenue. This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Accelerate your career in sports with the program committed to developing top-notch executives and managers with a focus on the job placement for students and graduates. The FAU MBA in Sport Management Program.
PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. To do this, they're implementing their Community Benefits Plan that focuses on affordable home lending, small business loans, and employee volunteerism, and creating other opportunities to give back on a local level. They're proud to be a part of the South Florida community. See how PNC Bank can make a difference for you at pnc.com/our commitments. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
ESPN 1063 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Hi, this is Evan Cohen. I'm back, baby! Unsportsmanlike every morning, 6 to 10 a.m. right here on ESPN 1063.
Hey, it's Josh Cohen. When you need auto repair, honesty and reliability are everything. Trust the home for honest, reliable service since 1970. St. Lucie Battery and Tire. St. Lucie Battery and Tire has all the tire and battery brands in stock for cars, trucks, RVs, marine, power sports, golf carts, everything. Major and minor service repairs, free tire pressure, battery checks. St. Lucie Battery and Tire, over 50 years in our community. And now with 18 full-service locations, West Palm to the Treasure Coast. Go to slbt.com. That's slbt.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Rolling on here from the Kaseya Center, downtown Miami, Florida. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Kate Chumslin on the ones and twos. Back at the City Place Studios in West Palm Beach. Heat Pistons tonight, tip-off 7:30. Dwayne Wade being honored at halftime. His statue was unveiled yesterday. It's right in front of us. Dwayne Wade, of course, probably the Miami Heat's most storied franchise player. It's a great notion that he's going to be honored. The statue leaves a lot to be desired based on the actual execution of it. It looks a lot like Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix, so that's my takeaway on that really quickly. But it's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063. The number to get into the show, 888-760-3776. That's 888-760-3776. We're taking overreactions to this past Sunday in NFL football. There's got to be a whole lot of them. Let us know. 888-760-3776. Kate's helping us out back at the the City Place Studios in West Palm Beach. Let's get to some Overreaction Monday presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Sound the alarm. Let's jump to conclusions. There's no room for reason. It's Overreaction Monday.
Oh, how could I be so stupid?
Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
It's Overreaction Monday on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo. So I want to leave the first one to you because I want to see how you're going to overreact or lack thereof to the Brown game. So, Mike, I'm not telling you to go that direction. We could get to it eventually. But what is your overreaction number one from this past week?
I mean, my overreaction is that the Lions are going to win the NFC, and I don't even think it's going to be close.
Is that an overreaction?
I think so. There's a long way to go. I think it's an overreaction because there's a long way to go.
That team had 85 passing yards, and they scored like 50 points.
I mean, dude, 52-14.
Ben Johnson handed him the castle and the Cadillac. Oh, my God.
It's to the point where it's hard to deny that the Lions are going to win the NFC and do what they should have done last year. Let's be honest. They should have went to the Super Bowl last year. If Dan Quinn isn't this WWE personality and has to live up to the reputation going for it on fourth down, not kicking field goals, they're probably in the Super Bowl. So that's my overreaction. I think the Lions are easily going to win the NFC.
All right, Lions.
And I picked. Then the reason I think that's an overreaction too is because I picked the Niners to win the Super Bowl before the year. How wrong am I?
Yeah, and the Niners actually looked good yesterday. It just seems like they're going to be playing from behind the eight ball with all the injuries they have. But your overreaction is that. My overreaction, I have a couple different options here. But, one that I was thinking of, and you're not going to like it, but the Browns are going to win, I'm going to say, 6 games. 6.
Yeah, they need to lose, Kyle.
Games. I know Mike doesn't want to hear that because he wants the Browns to get that first or 5 overall pick. That they looked good. They looked better than good yesterday. And, Jameis Winston does what Jameis Winston does. And, your head scratching just thinking about some of the decisions he made. But he played a relatively clean football game. They were able to get down the field in some big spots. The defense did what they had to do. And they made that secondary, which is ailing for the Ravens, pay. And they stole a game. The Browns, I'm in on it. I think you got rid of the cancer. You cut out the tumor in a lot of ways with Deshaun Watson being out of that building now.
I mean, Kyle, they have 6 losses on the year already. 6 losses?
Oh, I'm not saying they're going to salvage anything, but they're going to win some games. That team's good enough to win some games. And Chubb's back in the mix, and he didn't even do that all that much yesterday. That was the Jameis Winston show we saw, and they took down the Ravens. I know the Ravens always drop a game like that, but that's my overreaction. They're going to win 5-6 games.
Oh, God.
I know you don't want to hear that.
We're going to get
and do nothing.
And we're going to
get the 9th overall pick.
We're going to get the 10th overall pick, and we're going to
draft the LSU offensive lineman.
And we're going to be right back where we were last year. 6-7 wins again. Nice. Perfect.
But you agree with me in some capacity. That team was solid.
Yeah,
they look solid.
I did
that's not a 2-loss. That's not a 2-win team.
I did want to take the time to say rest in peace to Jim Donovan, Colin. He was a long-time play-by-play radio voice. Grew up with him, Tom Hamilton, and I'll tell you what, man. Jimmy D, voice of the Browns, that really hit us. And you texted me. You said, Riz, I know they play. Yeah, he's my dad's age. Wow. So he's
suddenly.
He had cancer. He got very
aggressive. Yeah,
that's
right. I did know that.
It got very aggressive, and it took a turn for the worst. But he was the voice of the Brownies. It's who we know for the team. And you texted me. You said, Riz, I told you, man, Cleveland. I said the spirit of Jim Donovan, and I thought he was out there for us to see, and a great win against. I'll tell you what, Colin. The Browns could win that game. I can't stand the Ravens, as you know. That's our team. They stole our team. They're thieves. So you could beat the Ravens. They could have 3 wins all year and have them both be the Ravens. How about that? You could win 3 games. You could beat the Ravens twice.
That's it.
That's it.
But they're going to do more than that.
Do you think they're going to beat? Now, we talked about this on Friday. You said they had a chance
in the division. I mean, granted, yeah, and I know that the first game they caught some people by surprise. They're going to get game plan. But I was ultimately impressed with the poise they showed. They showed poise.
I think if they were to play Cincinnati again at home, they'd win. They played Cincinnati last week, and they lost because they still had Watson and whatever we want to call that. But, oh, God, Kyle.
What's another overreaction you got from
Another overreaction, Colin. I think the Packers might win that division. I know I just said no one's going to beat the Lions in the NFC North. I think there's a chance that the Packers can be in the mix to win that division at the end of the year. I don't think it's going to be nearly a quote-unquote landslide by the Lions like how I thought it was going to be before the year. I think the Packers are going to continue to win games and probably win 11 or 12 games.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're going to win 11 or 12 games, and I think there's
so the Packers. All right, so but the Lions are the heavy favorites.
The Lions will be the heavy favorites, but what I'm saying
Packers
is
got the Lions this weekend. They're going to be ailed too.
I think the Packers are going to be right there at the end of the year for the division. They're both. I know the Packers lost their lone division game. I know they lost the lone division game, but I think they're going to be right there come up at the end of the year. I do, and they can't beat Chicago. I know the Bears and the Vikings are more likely probably to make the playoffs than to miss the playoffs. If you talk to any odds makers out there, maybe not so much the Bears, but with the Vikings in their 5-2 start, with the Bears looking good on defense, a lot of people probably would call that far-fetched. I think the Packers are going to be right there at the end of the year.
All right. My overreaction, Texas A&M is going to be in that SEC championship game, and yes, that would mean a whole lot of things. It would mean, number one, that the Texas Longhorns, they have the Texas A&M team at the end of the year. I'm in on Texas A&M. That team looked good.
Well, they're well coached.
Mike Elko, they're getting better by the week. Marcel Reed is looking to be the quarterback that they're going to go to consistently, and I understand he's been up and down, but mostly has been a fairly reliable passer, but is excellent with his legs. You saw that against LSU. They don't have a tough schedule. The rest of the season, they're 5-0. They have no losses in the SEC, and they got South Carolina, which is going to be a tricky game, but then they got New Mexico and Auburn. So they got New Mexico State and Auburn, and then they got Texas A&M, Texas at the end of the year, but they're home. Mm-hmm. And Texas, I think jury's out on them a little bit. They get frazzled in a big spot. I wonder if they're going to lose their second big game.
Well, they escaped Vanderbilt.
And they were ahead by more than the score indicated. But I think that Texas, jury's a little out on them. And I'm not completely sold on them, but I am sold on Texas A&M. I know they had that loss to Notre Dame early in the year. They're still figuring things out, a brand-new head coach. I'm in on them. I like Marcel Reed, and they got a good running game. They offer a couple different dimensions there, and they have talent all over the field. And it just took the right coach to unlock it, and Mike Elko might be that guy. And they don't have an impossible schedule. They have no loss in SEC. They're in their driver's seat. Don't drop a game, and all of a sudden you might be in a chance where you could get the SEC championship and basically get an automatic bid to the college football playoff.
I have one more for you. I think I'm starting to buy into Indiana.
Finally, there's no overreaction here, Mike. They haven't trailed in 8 games.
Yes, there is.
Mike, 8 games.
Ohio
the
State,
first team
Penn
in 20
State,
years.
Oregon.
20 years. First team in 20 years that hasn't trailed through 8.
My overreaction, my last overreaction is that Mike Rizzo is buying into Indiana, and that's an overreaction because we're not there yet. They need to beat a good team. Who the hell have they beat? Why am I buying into
Nebraska
this?
Good?
What? No, they're not good.
Then why are they close with Ohio State?
Because we stink. Excuse me, the Buckeyes stink. That's why. They have no business. And Ryan Day is an absolute fraud. How are you in that? How is Nebraska in that game? Your roster is $20 million. How is this a game against Nebraska?
Indiana plays Ohio State this weekend. Are you taking Indiana or Ohio State?
Oh, my God. Indiana by 2 scores. Two scores.
Hold on. So Indiana hasn't beaten anybody, but the jury's out on them because you haven't seen them beat a good team. But they would beat Ohio State by 2 touchdowns.
But the Buckeyes aren't a good team.
So who is a good team? At the
Oregon,
end?
Penn
All right,
State.
So they got to play Oregon in the Big Ten championship game.
Penn State's a good team. They had a great win at Wisconsin. The SEC, count the brass of the SEC, Georgia.
But they're in a driver's seat here to not only get a bid to that Big Ten championship game, but I think they're not as good as Oregon. Oregon just plays cleaner. And, of course, they got the questions with the quarterback and whether Rourke's going to be healthy. But it looks to be, a 2-horse race. And, of course, Ohio State has the talent. I'm still Ohio State over Penn State. But Indiana, they haven't trailed all year. Them and Army. And I love Army. So it's Indiana and Army. Kurt Cignetti, I am in on that. That was.
Can Cignetti come coach the Buckeyes next year? I
don't know if he'd go. I don't know if he'd go.
Fire Ryan Day and get Cignetti.
I don't know if he'd go inner Big Ten, but I could see him in maybe that Florida job, maybe Missouri. Who knows? That was our Overreaction Monday presented by Hard Rock Bet. It's Florida's official sports book. For the first time ever in Florida, bet on the Dolphins all season long. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Another game we didn't touch on that I back to the NFL side of things. I know there's a college slate that was mostly boring over the weekend. But, I don't want to lead with it because I feel like everybody's talking about it. But the New York Jets had one of the more embarrassing losses, and they've had a couple this year. The Jets have had such a tumultuous year in terms of how they lose. They don't lose because they got beat. They lose because they're tripping over their own shoelaces.
Right.
And they did it against Denver, and in a lot of ways they did it yesterday, allowing a 70-yard drive with 2 minutes to go against Jacoby Brissett, who converted 2 third downs and long, and a 4th and goal at the end of the game. People want to blame Rodgers. I understand there's not an ounce of leadership in that entire team. But this is the defense stinks. The head coach stinks, 0-3 now. The play calling is up and down. That Patriot team just got killed by Jacksonville, of all teams. Jacksonville, and they lost their quarterback a quarter into the game. Everybody wants to talk about the Jets and bash on the Jets. I understand bashing on Rodgers, and he deserves it because there's not an ounce of leadership. His ego has stripped him of his leadership abilities, and that's just the truth of it. His overarching ego has stripped him of his ability to, reconcile and connect and empathize with his teammates around him. But that team is embarrassing.
They really
capitally.
are. And their problem is they're not a team. They have
They
have a lot of good players.
It's almost an island of misfit toys.
It really is. And you blame Rodgers because he's got his buddy Davante Adams there, right? And he's, in my opinion, I have no proof of this. I think the proof is in the pudding, personally, if you look at the situation closely. Rodgers got Saleh fired. He never liked the guy. I don't think he wanted the guy there in the first place.
Saleh's definitely chuckling watching that game on Sunday.
Oh, absolutely. And then how about the Jets going out and getting Hassan Reddick and that not working out?
They used him on third down. He had like 20 snaps. Use the guy.
Let's see. The Jets have gone all in. They went out and traded for Aaron Rodgers. They got their star wide receiver in Davante Adams. They got their star edge rusher in Hassan Reddick. They've done theoretically, they've done everything to go all in to try to go and win a Super Bowl. That's why I say, Colin, their number one problem, they have not came together as a team, and I'm starting. It's too late. It's way too late. With 6 losses already, I know the AFC not what it used to be.
They're dead in the water.
I think they're done. They're beyond done, and you could blame them not coming together as a team if you want to blame Rodgers, if you want to blame the culture of the Jets. Mike Francesca, he said something that was hysterical to me. He said, I didn't think it was possible that the Jets could ruin Rodgers, but they make him look like a bum. He didn't think it was possible that Aaron Rodgers could possibly be a bad quarterback until he came to New York. I'm starting to think the Jets just have that stigmatism similar to the Browns and a couple of these other teams. The Bears, where you go and if you go play quarterback there, you're just going to die.
The Jets are the Jets. The Bears are the Bears. And I'm not going to say
Browns are the Browns.
I'm not dooming the Bears by any sense, by any stretch. But it's incredible how hilariously reminiscent of Favre this is in terms of how you close a career. Rodgers is in he looks bad here.
Let's talk about, you say the Bears are the Bears and the Jets are the Jets. When's the last time the Jets went to the playoffs? 2012?
Yeah, something like that.
You count you 7 years old the last time they went to the playoffs. Even the Bears, 2018.
I mean, the Bears, close to Super Bowls here and there. Like they've had some success.
They have, but not recently.
But they're
5 years
owned by Rodgers. I understand.
5 years.
But this is a situation in which the Jets, who are probably the worst coached team in football, with a bunch of it's an island of misfit toys of personalities and egos in that locker room, and it's either a mixture of unproven talent that needs to be led, and then, guys on the tail end of their Hall of Fame-ish careers that haven't been able to, put together this team, and they're shriveling under whether it's the pressure of New York, the pressure of the Jets, the ownership, the terrible coaching, whatever you want to chalk it up as. They are as embarrassing of a team as I have seen in quite some time on the NFL side of things, and I've seen some bad Jags teams. I've seen some bad Brown teams. But in terms of the talent that they have, this number one quote-unquote defense that they were supposedly equipped with.
Right.
It was Sauce Gardner who gave up that 35-yard completion to Kayshon Boutte to put them inside the 5 with a minute to go. It was the two-time first-team All-Pro who's basically don't even think about going after him. I can't put all this on Rodgers.
No.
This is a team that is littered with dysfunction, and this is not. And I'm not saying Rodgers is without blame, but the kicking awful. They were refusing to announce or admit that Greg Zuerlein has probably cost them 2-3 games now.
It starts with Rodgers, though, just because who he is.
There's no leadership. He's
none.
A terrible leader.
None.
He's not a leader.
Always has been. Can I say some kind of always has been?
And, the Packers are just, a terrifically run organization, and it's sort of like the train that always keeps running. So maybe you could get hide by that, but there's probably some truth to that. Rodgers, other than the year that they said they were going to run the table, and they did, and they made that run, I think that the Rodgers has been, favorably put behind the big parade that the Packers are, and the perfectly run train that he's just been able to ride on it. Now with Rodgers, having to pull up the team with his own two shoulders, and I understand he's getting banged around and he's coming off a big injury, but Rodgers getting exposed a little bit in terms of how he handles being a big-time leadership mentor-type player where he needs to be the 1A in the locker room, and he tries to be that at the Packers. This is a situation where Rodgers is getting exposed, and it's a rough look. And the Jets, a terrible loss, and it's laughable now that they fall and they lose to the Patriots. It's Jacoby Brissett. Come on.
You feel for their fan base. That's who I feel for. You feel for the fan base.
And then mortgage their whole future to supplant this.
You feel for the fan base that really just – I mean, remember, let's rewind, what was it, a year ago now, when poor Rodgers got hurt. I mean, the talk with the Jets was we're going to get right this ship. We're going to at least get back to the playoffs. We're going to compete in the division that is winnable, and now you're back to square one. You're back to square one. You got to find a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, they're going to be drafting a quarterback.
Yeah,
they're going to get the first quarterback off the board.
You got to find a franchise quarterback. You got to maybe rethink some of the I don't want to say rethink Sauce Gardner. He's a good piece. I don't want to say rethink Garrett Wilson. You certainly rethink Devontae Adams. I mean, why the hell would you even go out and get Devontae Adams? And I know that was 2 weeks ago. They technically were, 2-4. The season was somewhat still alive. This was a must-win for the Jets, and they failed the test, Colin. Big F this past Sunday. And it went all around. Ownership, general management, players, and specifically when you look at the players, you look at Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, the coaching too. Coaching, Ulbrich, awful. Let's forget about him for a second. That was Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Live from the Kaseya Center in downtown Miami, Florida. Dwayne Wade being honored tonight for Heat Pistons at halftime. He's got a statue right in front of us. The statue, pretty iffy if you ask me, but it's good size, everything.
Get on down here, get your picture with the statue. It's a fun time.
The
Colin.
guy,
come on.
The guy who designed the face, it's like maybe he never met.
He
Dwayne
wasn't
Wade.
a Michelangelo, is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, there's no Michelangelo in our midst. Maybe the guy didn't even meet Dwayne Wade, and he just had to do it off of memory. That's what it looks like based on the based on the statue. It just didn't look like. Maybe the guy didn't meet him. Maybe I'll give him benefit of the doubt. He just never met Dwayne Wade.
What do you mean?
And
never met him?
It's like if you and I had to draw a picture of Dwayne Wade right now, without Dwayne Wade in front of us, without a picture to actually use his influence, I think we'd come up with something similar to what that statue looks like.
Do stick figures count? That's what I'd be drawing.
Oh,
I'm
God.
I'm so artistically challenged. I cannot. Dude, cutting things. I am not an artist.
What do you mean cutting things?
I failed cutting and pasting in kindergarten.
That's a class?
Well,
kindergarten.
It was like a sub thing.
How did you fail a kindergartner?
Cutting and pasting. I failed. I am not an artist.
Mike Rizzo's not an artist. I want to get into that a little bit next. But it's the Sports Equinox Day. So you got everything on tonight. You got the MLS playoffs. You got the World Series. You got the NBA tonight, NHL, Monday Night Football, the 31st Sports Equinox in history. Everything on tonight, Monday. Packed day of sports. A great day of sports. What are you watching? Let us know. 888-760-3776. That's 888-760-3776. We'll get into that more next. Stick around. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state Rising Power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach. Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. There's sportsbook for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
I'm Wendy Sartori-Link, your Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. Election Day is November 5th. In Palm Beach County, eligible voters can vote during early voting from October 21st through November 3rd at any early voting location. Visit votepalmbeach.gov to find a location, check wait times, and skip the line by making an appointment ahead of time. Don't forget to bring your photo and signature ID. We can't wait to see you at the polls. Sponsored by the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections Office.
Experience football in paradise this fall at FAU Stadium. The Owls host the USF Bulls on Friday, November 1st under the primetime lights in beautiful Boca Raton. Tickets start as low as $20 to catch an AAC rivalry game on a Friday night. It's Florida Atlantic versus USF in a homecoming showdown you cannot miss. Friday, November 1st in Boca Raton. For tickets and more information, visit FAUsports.com. Florida Atlantic Athletics, winning in paradise.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
From the Kaseya Center in downtown Miami, Florida, Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. To the number to get into the program, 888-760-3776. Phone lines are open. That's 888-760-3776. It's Russo and Rizzo. We're presented in part by Where the Action Is. And Where the Action is coming up on December 18th at FAU Stadium. Mike can tell you all about it.
Folks, we're 51 days out from the 11th annual Boca Raton Bowl. And I'll tell you what, I'm host of Boca Bowl Weekly, which you can hear every Wednesday here on the fine radio station of ESPN 106.3. We're going to be live, folks, from the Boca Raton on Wednesday. Formerly the Boca Resort, folks. It's now the Boca Raton. We have our Boca Bowl golf outing coming up on Wednesday. I cannot wait to do the show live from the Boca Raton. Going to have a great time out there. And you got to get your tickets, folks. Get your tickets now by going to BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets. That's BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets. You can get signed up for the 2024 pre-sale, one of the best bowls in the country, folks, in beautiful Boca Raton. Get signed up now. That is BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets.
Sports Equinox Day, the 31st in history. Whole lot going on, of course, highlighted by Game 3 of the World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. 8:08 first pitch back at Yankee Stadium for the first of 3 in New York. And, of course, you got Monday Night Football. You got the Giants taking on the Steelers with Russell Wilson making his second start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, of course, you got a whole slate of NBA games, a whole slate of NHL games. You got 2 MLS playoff games today. You got a whole lot, Mike, and we don't get a lot of these. 31st in history. I was going through the stats. There was droughts of, I think, like 7 to 10 years at a certain point, like 2000 to 2011, there was a big drought.
Yep.
And this doesn't happen all that often. I feel like this happens every year now all of a sudden.
Yeah, with how deep the World Series is now, too.
Yeah.
You know, with how late the World Series is. I love it, personally. I'm not much of a hockey guy. I'm obviously more basketball.
Regular season, yeah.
Growing up in Cleveland, more basketball than hockey. And then obvious where we're at tonight, too, Colin, with the Wade statue and stuff. Get on out to the Heat game, folks. It's going to be a fun time tonight. I'll probably, football and World Series, most likely. Football, World Series, monitoring the Heat. That's what I'm going to have on tonight.
Monitor the Heat.
Football, World Series, monitoring the Heat.
Yeah. I see some guys, a ton of Dwayne Wade jerseys all throughout here is going to be honored tonight at halftime of that Heat Pistons game, 7:30 from the Kaseya Center.
Colin, my favorite Wade moment, probably 05-06, the run he had with Shaquille O'Neal to win it all. Now, at the time,
he's living at the free throw line. That
correct,
Maverick series.
Correct. And at the time, the Heat were obviously championship contenders with Shaq. But even as a young lad, I was 11 years old watching that. I didn't think that the Heat were going to win the championship that year. It just seemed like such an unlikely thing to happen that year. And for a young Dwayne Wade, in my opinion, Colin, he carried the team. And this is, I love Shaq. In your opinion, I overrate Shaq.
He was a little.
I don't want to say past it because that's wrong, but he wasn't what he was with the Lakers during the three-peat. Let's not get it twisted. That 05-06 championship was because of Dwayne Wade.
100%.
It was because of Wade.
It makes it all the more poetic that they beat the Mavericks and Dirk in that historical year that Dirk had, and I think that was his MVP year. That was the year that the Heat knocked him out in the NBA Finals, and then they got their lick back on 2011 when the Heat had all the juice.
Yep.
The Heat had all the momentum, whether it be LeBron and Bosh and this, and the Dallas Mavericks take him down. So that in terms of a poetic little rivalry they had there, it was kind of cool to see both ends of that.
Big time, and good for Wade.
Wade was always, a most underrated part of his game was how he utilized the fast break, and we know how good of a slasher he was. Mm-hmm. But in terms of either you passing the ball up court, outletting it out,
right.
Alley-oops with LeBron. He was second to none in terms of feel, in terms of when to start a fast break. And that's the difference between 2011 and 2012. Was that 2011 team, they were a little stagnant offensively, trying to figure out what type of play style they wanted to do with that big three. 2012 and 2013, where they were dominant and they beat the Thunder in, 5 games, that young Thunder team. They just went to the basket every single play. They were impossible to beat, because that slashing mentality sort of took over, and Spoelstra just allowed those guys to just be the Bulls they were and just go right down court to the basket, and it dominated teams.
The basketball awareness for when I think of the Heat, I think of Wade. The basketball awareness of Wade, similar to LeBron, is just off the charts. That's why it worked so well. I feel like the big three worked so well is because of how smart LeBron and Wade were when it came to the game of basketball. They knew when to pass when they had to pass. They knew when to play the passing lane when they needed to play and defend the hoop. It didn't matter what happened, I thought, with those Heat teams. You knew for those 2 years that they were going to win it. I know the second one was a little sketchy with the Allen three-pointer in the corner and whatever, but you knew special things were going to happen when you saw Wade and LeBron on the court at the same time, and I think it's about damn time that Wade gets honored.
Yeah, it was more on the tail end of his career. The tail end of his prime, I should say, when LeBron really got there. So you got really 2 years of that really prime Wade. And then the age started to hit Wade. But a terrific career, a Miami legend. And, of course, that statue is honoring him right outside the Kaseya Center, right in front of us. Heat Pistons tonight. Heat at 1-1. Pistons at 0-3. One of the worst teams in the league. So hopefully the Heat can come out of this one with a victory. We got Cade Chumslin back at the studios at the City Place, helping us out in the 1s and 2s. Now, Mike, we were doing Sunday Huddle, which you could hear at 10 a.m. On Sunday mornings, promoting the NFL and breaking down the Sunday slate presented by Hard Rock Bet. Cade and I were doing that, and Cade had something to say. He said, I had a Rizzo roast for you. And I'm like, you have a Rizzo roast? And so he explained it to me in some capacity, did not go too in-depth. And I said, save this for when Mike is present with us. And so I'm going to kind of hand the reins off to Cade. But Cade is something that he was listening last week to you and I, and he has a little bit of a misconstrued confusion on your end that he'd like to call you out for. So, Cade, I'd like to welcome you into the program and take it away.
Well, thanks for painting me like that. I appreciate that.
Cade's always going at
digging,
my neck.
and he's always digging for audio.
He's always
Cade
going at my
Cade is
neck,
so
man.
good at digging for audio. It's too impressive. All right, go ahead, Cade.
Well, I'm just your guys' biggest fan. Let's just be honest. I'm listening to you guys from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN 106.3. I'm listening to Theoretically Speaking, which we get from 2 to 4 on ESPN 106.3. And Rizzo, I always characterize you as a very observant lad, and I noticed how you also love listening to ESPN radio, and you made a comment on Friday when we were talking about, or I should say you guys in CCAT, and it was very depth World Series conversation, and you made a reference to something that happened earlier in the day, and I just want to, let's refresh the memory for this second. For everyone back home, this is Rizzo on Friday on their on here, Russo and Rizzo.
I heard them talk about this earlier on ESPN Radio, and I totally agreed with the guy that was freaking out about the Yankee fan who bought the ALCS apparel.
Just make sure you did say that, right? You remember how there was a gentleman.
We're talking about getting the ALCS apparel.
There was someone freaking out that that a Yankee fan was buying gear. Like, why are you buying the gear? I totally agree. Wait till they win the World Series.
Fantastic.
Kate has a point, yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Rizzo. I also heard that gentleman on ESPN National say that, and it's kind of concerning how you didn't recognize the guy.
You are a Yankee fan. If you're a Yankee fan, you celebrate number 28 that is winning the World Series. You don't celebrate the AL Championship, winning a pennant. What kind of Yankee fan are you?
Now, Rizzo, can you tell our amazing audience who that gentleman was on the call?
It's Evan, but the problem is, Kate, he was filling in for Greeny. And
No. Hold on. You said you heard the guy say and quote unquote freaking out about the jersey.
You
didn't just hear the title of the show.
What happened was, Cade, if anyone knows how much of a monster doing Josh Cohen's questionable call is, it's you. Okay? I was in the middle of doing Josh's show, questionable call, getting ready to, do his show, one of the 30 clips that I have to cut in the morning for Josh's show, okay? And it was on in the background. And it said, and I remember hearing, this is Greeny on. I didn't know if it was Evan. I didn't know if it was Zaz.
You were able to discern that he said that specifically,
correct, but
you weren't able to discern that it was Evan?
Correct, because it was on such a low volume because I'm cutting video for Josh while at the same time trying to listen to the big stories on ESPN Radio. That's what I blame that on.
Here's the thing, Rizzo.
Me trying to multitask, okay, and not knowing who's on the air because Greeny is never.
Here's the thing, Rizzo.
Greeny can't be bothered to do his radio show.
Here's the thing, Rizzo. Here's the thing.
Okay.
First of all, nobody asked. And second of all, there's only one of two ways this is going to go.
Nobody asked what?
The first way is that Evan Cohen is by far definitely never coming on your guys' show. There was already a thing with Colin and calling Evan a fraud, and then Evan boycotting the show. And
you know how many shows are?
He is a phony. But
listen,
what's the other option?
Hang on. I want to get in here. There are a lot of reasons to critique me and what I do. I understand that. I don't think it's right here. I don't think this is it. There are a lot of shows on ESPN Radio. There are a lot of people who fill in for Greeny. I don't think this is a big deal because I couldn't remember if it was Evan, if it was Zaz, if it was whoever.
I don't know if it's remember. I think it's recognized is the word you're looking for.
You guys got to realize I've known Evan and have worked under. I know the 3 years I've been in PR. I've worked under Evan since about 2015.
Option number two is that Evan is jumping on your show tomorrow to address both you and Colin. He's either coming on tomorrow or he's never coming on at all.
I would go on the first option. I don't think Evan's going to join the program. I don't think we'd let him join the program.
Here's the thing. I don't think Evan would mind that I didn't know it was him who said it because if I gave him context, he would not mind. And I think after you guys heard my context, you understand how I was listening with one ear open while at the same time trying to cut 30 clips for questionable call.
You didn't know Evan. It
wasn't during his time slot. It was somebody.
The godfather of ESPN West Palm Radio, Mike.
No. I'm not dying on this hill. Greeny never works, okay? It's not my fault that Greeny never does his show. If it was during the hours of Unsportsmanlike, then I would have known it would have been Evan Canty and one of them who said it because it was a gentleman voice, okay? It wasn't Michelle. So, boys, this is not something that – this isn't the hill to die on for me.
Okay. So, Mike does not want to die on that hill, and he doesn't – Evan Cohen – as we're getting yelled at, being a little too loud here at the Casilla Center for the Miami Heat. But, Mike wants to die on that hill. He didn't recognize Evan. Let bygones be bygones. He might have to explain himself at a certain point. But we continue on here on ESPN 106.3. We're doing Russo.
Colin.
Yeah, me and you were yelling at each other. And now we're getting
God.
yelled at by the ushers in the arena.
They're in a meeting in the team shop. So
they're in the meeting in the team shop.
We got to keep it down.
They got the Miami Heat night. This could be a big night because Dwayne Wade. You got all the media out front, and I'll tell you one thing: you got a ton of media, a ton of news anchors from all over the Miami area lining up out front of this statue, and I would argue that if the statue was a little bit more reminiscent of Dwayne Wade's face, you'd have less media actually here. I think part of the story.
Come on, Colin. Get off that, dude. Get off that, bro.
It looks like Lawrence Fishburne.
It's about celebrating Dwayne and
celebrating
his
a great career, and I like the location, and it looks
it's
cool.
awesome, dude. It's overlooking the skyline. Come on, guy, you got to get out and see it.
But we haven't touched on it yet. I want to do a little World Series coming up next. Game 3, Dodgers Yankees. That's tonight, 8:08. Dodgers up 2-0. Yankees got 3 straight at Yankee Stadium. That will be tonight. Looking forward to that. Is this salvageable for the Yankees? We'll get into that a little bit next. First, I got to tell you about Hard Rock Bet. Now you've seen the first few weeks of the NFL season, first few weeks of the college season. There's a sports equinox tonight. It is time to get involved on Hard Rock Bet. Last year, you couldn't legally bet in Florida until week 14 in the NFL season. Now, for the whole season, you can get involved now on Hard Rock Bet. You could bet on college football as well. You could bet on the MLB side of things as well. You got a full NBA slate tonight. NHL, World Series, college hoops is starting next week. You got a big slate of college football tonight. You could get started and bet it all on the sportsbook with Hard Rock Bet. If you don't want to bet a ton of money, try a parlay. String a bunch together. Increase your odds. In Week 1, a Florida bettor went 16 for 16. Strung out all of the Week 1 NFL picking against the spread. Turned a $15 bet into over $100,000. He did it on Hard Rock Bet. So can you. Get started today. It's got the simplicity that the experienced player really that the new player really wants, but it's also got the sophistication with the Discover page and all the promos that they offer that the experienced player really desires when they're coming to a new sportsbook. Hard Rock Bet has got it all. It's got the interface for every type of player. Get started today. All you got to do is download the Hard Rock Bet on the App Store or the Google Play Store, or go to hardrock.bet. Try it today and get up to $100 back in bonus bets. If that first bet does not win, that first bet can be a parlay, it can be a prop, it can be an over, any bet you want, any game you choose. You either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. Try it today. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Well, World Series Game 3 is tonight between the Yankees and the Dodgers. 8:08 first pitch. You got Walker Buehler on the mound against Clark Schmidt. So Buehler will be that 3-6. We'll see if the Dodgers end up going a bullpen game, maybe Game 4. But is this salvageable for the Yankees? Can the Yankees get out of this hole? In 1996, famously, the Yankees were down and came back and won 4 straight. Can they do more of the same tonight? It starts with Aaron Judge. What do they have to do to salvage it, or are they dead in the water? We'll get into that next. Stick around. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
ESPN 106.3 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Hey, it's your boy JC reminding you to go on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe on Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The best from sports, stupidity, and social media. Exclusive on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Hit subscribe now.
This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. According to Lillian Rizzo of CNBC, Major League Soccer set a fresh regular season record with nearly 11.5 million fans attending games. The growth comes a year after the league implemented a new club performance unit led by Chris McGowan, which advises clubs on business strategies. The league, which saw its regular season end this past weekend, also experienced more fan engagement on social media and notches record sponsorship revenue. This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Accelerate your career in sports with the program committed to developing top-notch executives and managers with a focus on the job placement for students and graduates. The FAU MBA in Sport Management Program.
Attention, are you or a loved one suffering complications after taking Ozempic or Wegovy? These medications may be linked to serious gastrointestinal illnesses. If you've been hospitalized and diagnosed with gastroparesis, chronic vomiting, deep vein thrombosis, or experienced intestinal blockage requiring surgery, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call 888-900-LAW-1 today for a free consultation. That's 888-900-LAW1. Paid for by Tort Defenders. Tort Defenders is not a law firm and does not provide legal services.
Have you ever tried making your own fish sandwich? You made a big mess, didn't you? And it wasn't as good as a Bud's fish sandwich, was it? Hand-breaded, flaky cod fillets cooked to order, paired with crisp lettuce and Bud's homemade tartar sauce. Let Bud's take care of the cooking. Keep your kitchen clean and enjoy the best fish sandwich in town. From Bud's Chicken and Seafood, we guarantee it.
That's Bud's. You're gonna love it. Chicken and seafood, yum, yum.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen. This week on ESPN 106.3, we've got it all. Baseball, basketball, and football. Tonight, World Series Game 3 takes over the airwaves. Dodgers and Yankees. Game 3, we go live to the Bronx, and you'll hear every pitch. No need to scan the dial. ESPN 106.3 has everything you need to hear.
Time now for a PNC pause. PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. See how they can make a difference for you at PNC.com.
Banyan Printing, your trusted printing, mailing, and signage partner in the Palm Beaches for over 45 years. Banyan Printing's new metallic ink press adds that extra shine so that your product comes out in glossy gold, sparkling silver, or any other color you want to shine. Banyan Printing is the official printer of Kaiser Athletics and would love to be your official printing partner as well. Order products and learn more about what Banyan Printing can do for your business at banyanonline.com or call 561-586-6220.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo.
Live Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Live from the Casilla Center in downtown Miami, Florida. Heat taking on the Pistons tonight, honoring Dwayne Wade, such a storied player. The franchise's probably best player in the Heat's shorter history. He's being honored tonight at halftime. He's got his statue right in front of us outside of the Casilla Center, which has been met to mixed reviews, but it's cool. It's got a giant size to it, and I'm a big Dwayne Wade fan. He revolutionized the slasher position in the early 2000s. It's Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. The World Series Game 3 is tonight. Clark Schmidt, Walker Buehler on the mound. Schmidt has been up and down this postseason. Buehler has been mostly excellent so far, especially against the Mets, especially in that second game he started against the Mets. Been virtually unhittable when he has his stuff. So this can be a tricky spot for the Yankees back at Yankee Stadium tonight. And Mike, we were both in on the Yankees, but let's just lay it out there. Is this salvageable for the Yankees?
Dude, I mean, one of the most iconic home runs in World Series history was that Freddie Freeman grand slam. If they somehow find a way to get out of that game, we're not saying this. In my opinion, they should have won that Cole game. Now, why does Aaron Boone go to Nestor Cortez? It was funny because we were talking about this on Friday. Like, I kind of brought up the notion of maybe one of these managers will either get let go or step down pending how the World Series. You want to know what's a good way to get fired is throwing Nestor Cortez in the ninth inning, who hasn't thrown in 2.5 months, to Freddie Freeman with the bases loaded. What a miserable decision.
Terrible decision.
What a fireable decision by Aaron Boone.
See, I don't know.
But that's not the point I'm trying to make. Colin, if they win the Cole game, we're not having this conversation. The only reason I think it is salvageable is because it doesn't – a series doesn't start until someone wins on the road. The Yankees play great at home. Say what you want about the Guardians, how the Dodgers are a different animal than the Guardians. I understand that.
They are.
But they didn't have a chance in New York. I think you're going to see a little bit of that magic and mojo from the Yankees tonight. Once they – is this the first game in new Yankee Stadium? Is this a first? Okay, in 2009 and 2010 where they were already there. I think the Yankees are going to win tonight. I think they win the next two. I think the Yankees win the next two, and it's tied. And I don't know about the third one. I know it's 2-3-2. I think it's going to be 2-2 by the time it gets to the third game.
I'm surprised you have that perspective. If anything, if there's a game
they should have won game one.
Well, yeah, I know. They're up 3-2 in the 10th, but the fact that they didn't and the fact that Judge is 1 for 9 with 6 Ks, only one hit essentially, and it was a single. They need Judge. They're only going to go as far as Judge takes them, and they got their best two pitchers out of the way right now in games 1 and 2. Rodon got bombed, and Garrett Cole, they only gave him 6 innings and 80 pitches. And so the fact that, and I understand the Boone situation with bringing in Cortez was not the right move. Who are you going to bring in? So whether people want to say walking Betts was the right move, or whether you should have went Hill and had him go against Betts.
The converse, yeah. That's
Freddie Freeman, with bases loaded, was like 9 for 13 with 4 homers and 25 RBIs. That was getting in regardless. I think the real bad decisions that on Boone's side lied in bringing in Weaver with 5 outs to go in the game in the 8th when Ohtani was at third. That run is getting in. They should have saved Weaver for the 9th just so you could go to him in the 10th again. Would have saved a couple arms. You're restricting yourself when you don't let Cole go deeper, and then all of a sudden you go to Weaver early, because then when it goes to extras, you're playing behind the 8 ball in terms of using your arms, which is not a deep bullpen. So I agree the Cortez move was a very foolish move, but I think it even starts before that with Cousins. Cousins should never walk Gavin Lux. If you're starting off that series, that game, you have Cabrera, who shouldn't have been pinch hitting or pinch running for Torres to begin with at second. And you cannot let Edman get an infield single, and you cannot walk Gavin Lux. Not at the bottom of the order. And I understand Edman's been Derek frickin' Jeter with how he's played, but you cannot walk Gavin Lux. You cannot get that extra man on base. You have to take advantage of that out. Cortez comes in, and Cortez gets that important out with Ohtani. I know it advanced the runner because Verdugo dove into the stands, but he got that important out, quote unquote. This was a situation where I think the problems lied with bringing in Weaver too early and not letting Cole go another inning and restricting your arms to the point where you have to go Cortez or you have to go Hill. I know Hill's been great,
sure,
but Boone does not look good. The managerial decisions do not look good. And I know they put themselves in a decent position to win that game, and I give Jazz Chisholm credit running those bases there in that 10th inning.
Yeah.
But this series and the Yankees' fate lives and dies not with the decisions of Boone, but with Aaron Judge.
Well, you got to take advantage of being at home, too. And the Yankees have been a good home team all playoff.
And this is a different beast. This is a different beast.
It's a different beast, but Ohtani, his shoulder, is he going to be the same?
He'll be all right.
Right?
He's got a reconstructed elbow. He's been able to hit 50 homers.
Is Ohtani going to be the okay after the shoulder injury, too? Colin, I think the Yankees are going to show up for the home crowd tonight. I think Seacat's going to have something to cheer for at Yankee Stadium.
Let's hope they don't have a favorable pitching matchup and they have no momentum with them. But I'd like to see a good series. This is going to be a big-time game tonight. And I think it starts with Aaron Judge. We'll continue the conversation on the World Series a little further into the show. In the meantime, we got Jonathan Zaslow of ESPN Radio and the College Football Tour, the Zaslow Show 2.0, a Miami native, a Miami Heat fan. We'll get his thoughts on a slew of things. Coming up next, it's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
ESPN 106.3 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or bradleyair.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time to save thousands during the model year-end sales event at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. The new 2025 Kias are on the ground, which means the 2024s need to go. A new 2024 Kia Forte LXS for only $149 per month. Make no payments until next year. Plus, we want your trade. You can get up to $6,000 over Kelley Blue Book fair market value for any trade. And if you have a job bringing home $350 per week, we want to improve your credit so you can drive home your new Kia today. Only at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Call 800-NEW-KIAs or visit online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com. Qualified applicants through KFA, 24-month lease, $34.99 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year, 0 security deposit required, plus tax tag and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. 90 days deferred payments. Interest accrues from date of purchase. Discount includes all factory rebates to dealer. Offers don't combine. Expires 11/5/24.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Hey, it's your boy JC reminding you to go on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe on Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Brand new episodes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The best from sports, stupidity, and social media. Exclusive on YouTube. Questionable Call with Josh Cohen. Hit subscribe now.
I'm Wendy Sartori-Link, your Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. Tuesday, November 5th is Election Day, and the polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Find where you vote at votepalmbeach.gov. Remember to bring your photo and signature ID. If you still have a mail ballot, you can either vote in person at your polling location, drop it off at one of our drop-off locations during designated hours, or bring it to our main office by 7 p.m. on Election Day. It's an honor to serve and ensure your vote counts. See you at the polls. Sponsored by the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections Office.
VIP experiences await at South Florida's only PGA Tour event. The Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches is upping the golf game, February 27th through March 2nd with new luxury hospitality venues. Host colleagues and clients at the Shoreline Suites. Mingle with friends and family in the 1909 Terrace. Or treat yourself to the ultimate VIP week at the Yellow Flamingo Club. Limited spots remain. Inquire now at thecognizantclassic.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Miami, Florida. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. This is a big night as Dwayne Wade is being honored at halftime for the Miami Heat, taking on the Pistons. 7:30 tip-off. It's a sports equinox day, so you get a whole lot going on in the sports world. Every major sports league is playing. Russo and Rizzo presented in part by F45. When you want to start your day off with a bang, a day like today where there's just so much to watch in sports, you got to start your day off, your week off with a win. I did that today at F45, the best type of workout if you want to get in and out quickly. 45 minutes, class-oriented, social style, coaches there. It's the perfect type of workout that's for function. It's not necessarily the Olympic lifts that I grew up on. It's more of the functional workouts that prioritize the stretching, staying healthy, staying fit, cardiovascular health. It's never the same workout twice. I love F45 because of the social aspect as well. There's so many people to meet through the area. They have it right there in West Palm Beach, and they also have locations in Wellington as well. Check it out, F45 West Palm Beach, their Instagram. Go check it out now. It's the best place to start your day off with a win. I go every morning. Go check it out, F45 West Palm Beach. Like to welcome in Mr. Jonathan Zaslow, the Zaslow Show 2.0, and a college football tour on ESPN Radio. A Miami native, a South Florida native himself. Joining the show now, Mr. Zaslow. How you doing today? What's going on?
Hey, I'm good, guys. Tonight's a great sports night. There is so much going on. I got at least 4 things that I got to keep an eye on here tonight, but I only have 2 TVs in the Zaslow Mansion family room, so we got to break out the iPad. We're pulling out all the stops here tonight.
Wow, you got everything set up in a little home theater action. But I got to ask you really quickly, you're somebody who worked very closely with the Miami Heat doing their the pre-post half and did a lot of coverage for the Miami Heat throughout those glory years with Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, those championship years. Dwayne Wade being honored tonight at the Kaseya Center, and he has that statue out front. Let me get your reaction to, I'm sure you saw a picture of that statue of Dwayne Wade, and how important was Dwayne Wade to this Miami Heat franchise? Go right ahead.
Well, my first reaction is, all right, the statue doesn't really look like him, but Dwayne Wade is clearly happy with the statue. He was part of the process, all right? So if Dwayne Wade is good with the statue, I think we all should probably be good with the statue. And then, I do think we're being a little bit too harsh on the statue's, non-likeness to Dwayne Wade because, I see pictures and you're looking close at it. I'm like, all right, I could see it, Tim. But the only problem with that is that's when you're looking up close and you're face-to-face with the statue. No one's ever going to be up close and face-to-face with the statue. I mean, the face of the statue is like 12 feet high. So that's probably a little bit of a problem if you could only tell it's Dwayne Wade when you're up close and looking right at it. But I do feel like we're being a little bit too harsh on the likeness to Dwayne Wade with the statue. As far as them honoring Dwayne tonight, look, I just hope the outcome isn't the same as when they were honoring Pat Riley. Last week, you're going to honor Pat Riley game one and get blown out the building. Don't honor Dwayne Wade tonight and get blown out the building this evening either.
Well, they did a good job by scheduling the Pistons, I'll tell you that. But you mentioned being live and in person. Maybe you could see the statue from a better angle, and maybe it speaks to you a little more. And let me tell you one thing. We're right here. We're right in front of it. And I took a look, looked at it in the eyes, and I'm going to tell you one thing and one thing only. That Dwayne Wade did not speak to me. So that was just the case and my perspective on it based on seeing the statue, but I don't want to rain in any parade more so than I already have. Yeah, you're right. Scheduling the Pistons, you got to hope they come out of this with a win. But let's get to a packed NFL slate yesterday, of course highlighted by that Washington-Chicago game, in which Washington won in dramatic fashion with that Hail Mary at the end of the game. Chicago now, all of a sudden, falling to 4-3 in a heavyweight division in that NFC North. Are they in a position now where they're struggling to keep their head above water, and they're going to fall behind the lead horses in this race in the NFC?
Well, they're not going to win the division, all right? The teams at the top of that division.
You got a tough schedule, Zaz.
Yeah, tough schedule. I do think they're going to remain in the playoff chase as far as wild card goes, because you look at the rest of the NFC, they're still right in the thick of things here. Like, they're not going to catch the top teams, but the wild card teams in the NFC right now, we're talking about teams that they're right there with as far as 3 losses so far. Now, unfortunately for Chicago, you're going to wind up looking back at the end of the season and say, wow, one less loss, we're in the postseason. Remember, Tyreek Stevenson, he decided to go and taunt fans instead of doing his assignment. We'd be in the playoffs here. Now, the Bears, they're one loss back of being all the way number 5 overall in the NFC. So they're totally in the thick of things here. But my goodness, what an incredible finish. And I would tell you, obviously, okay, Jaden Daniels, he won the matchup, right? He won the battle between the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick. And while the numbers weren't good for Caleb Williams, that quarterback that I saw in the fourth quarter for Chicago was awesome. All right. They were down 12-0 in that game on the road. They come back in the fourth quarter. They take the lead 15-12. And on that touchdown drive where they score with seconds remaining, Caleb Williams was awesome. That's me. You have a quarterback, a rookie quarterback who is struggling on the road through 3 quarters, and he gives you that performance coming back from double digits down on the road. To me, that's a big-time effort. If I'm a Bears fan, yesterday was super bitter, but I'm still tuned into every Bears game this year because I want to watch Caleb Williams, the future of the franchise, and he showed me a lot again yesterday. I think Caleb Williams is awesome.
Zaz, let's get to probably the biggest news, in my opinion, at least from Sunday. The Jets laying an egg to the Patriots seemed like a must-win for the Jets. They fall to 2-6. Zaz, let's run something real. I want to run something past you real quick. They went out and traded for a franchise quarterback and Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers. They went out and traded for a number 1 wide receiver in Devontae Adams. They went out and traded for an edge rusher in Hassan Reddick. Talk about going all in and falling on your face. What do they do now? Zaz, what does this team do now at 2-6?
There is a reason why, guys, in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers can complain all he wants about the team didn't do this, they're not making this move, they're not drafting this. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers had success every single season. And now you get to New York, and the Jets have been kowtowing to every single move that Aaron Rodgers wants. There's a reason why the general manager is in charge of good franchises, and the players aren't allowed to make moves in other franchises. And you're seeing here the New York Jets for a reason. They have done everything that Aaron Rodgers has wanted. He's 40 years old. He has not had a big-time season in 3 years. He's coming off of a major injury, and they're still doing everything he wants while he goes out in his darkness retreats. The Jets are getting exactly what they deserve.
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers wants to talk about after the game yesterday, I've lived in the darkness. We need to go into the darkness and embrace it. Aaron, the Jets fan has been miserable for 50 years. You can't stand up there and tell the Jets fan that they need to go in the darkness. It's been nothing but darkness, and this is maybe the most embarrassing season in New York Jets history. And they've had many embarrassing seasons, but none of those embarrassing seasons included supposed Super Bowl expectations. Aaron Rodgers is at the helm of the most embarrassing season in New York Jets history.
Zaz, are the Jets drafting a quarterback this April?
Well, based on the Jets' behavior in allowing Aaron Rodgers to dictate whatever they do, if Rodgers decides that he's not going to retire, and by the way, if Rodgers does retire, it's not a very good friend move where, Devontae Adams comes on over there. He's under contract for several years, and then you get up and out and you leave Devontae Adams with that mess. But if Aaron Rodgers decides to return for at least another year, they're not drafting. Like, there's nothing about the Jets' history the last couple of years that would tell you that they're going to draft a quarterback. So it depends if Aaron Rodgers decides to retire. If he doesn't decide to retire, no, they're not drafting a quarterback.
Jonathan Zaslow of the Zaslow Show 2.0 College Football Tour on ESPN Radio. Joining us now, a South Florida native himself, a Miami Dolphin fan, a Miami Heat fan. Mr. Zaslow, let's shift to the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa back at quarterback after getting on IR with that concussion he suffered in Week 2. Came out yesterday. The Dolphins definitely had a spark of life, especially in that first half against the Cardinals at home. But it was more the same in terms of falling flat on their face in terms of offensive, miscalculations here and there, not getting any sort of vibe and no rhythm in that second half. And the Cardinals played well, took them down. Now the Dolphins fall again. What's your takeaway on how that Tua return went in your eyes? And where do you think the Dolphins go from here?
Well, this one isn't very complicated to me. You like to, as fans, we like to be able to point and place blame when the team loses. Certainly the last few weeks without Tua, you look at McDaniel, we haven't been happy with him. The Dolphins' offense looked good. The Dolphins' defense gave it up late. It's really not that complicated. The Cardinals in the second half, their possessions were field goal, punt, touchdown, game-winning field goal. Like, the defense has been really good for the most part so far this season, and they gave it up yesterday. Zach Sealer not being available yesterday is a big deal. If somebody finds Bradley Chubb, let me know where he is. My God, is he going to play this year? And Javon Holland, who winds up leaving the game yesterday with an injury. I love Javon Holland, but let's be honest for a second here. He's always hurt. So the defense gave it up yesterday. It's really not that complicated. But at least for me, I got my Sundays back, where I could sit there for 3 hours and feel like, okay, maybe I could see a few exciting things. Like, I thought Tua looked great. Obviously, you can't lose the ball 3 times. He recovered. The team recovered all 3 of Tua's fumbles. And, the last one, the safety was the biggest one, which, my God, the center, it's like he chucked it at him from 4 feet away. Does the snap have to be that hot? The safety is essentially what gave the ball game away there. But overall, this team is done. We're at the point of the season where it doesn't matter. I'll be watching next week against Buffalo. I'll be watching every single week. They're not going to the playoffs. This season is toast, but at least I'm not watching boredom for 3 hours. I know that at least my team can give me a little something to get excited about every weekend.
Zaz, switching on over to college, what surprised you the most from the college football slate this weekend?
I guess LSU. It seemed like LSU had it going. And they certainly had it going this week against Texas A&M. They were up 10 at one point, 17-7, and A&M just comes roaring back. So it pretty much kills LSU's season. They're likely to struggle for making the postseason now. That's their second loss, and I can't believe it. But Texas A&M, maybe they're real. They lose week number 1 to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's not that good, but now we're talking 7 consecutive wins for Texas A&M. They could be playing in the not Texas, not Alabama, not Tennessee, not Georgia. We're talking about Texas. Texas A&M could very well be playing in the SEC championship game.
I would say they're in the driver's seat of playing in that SEC championship game at this point. Not a tough schedule other than that Texas game at the end of the year. And Texas, I think the jury's still out on them. What's your takeaway? You were there in person in Nashville. Takeaway on Texas.
Such a weird one, right? So the game ends, and Texas was in control of the game, the whole game. Vanderbilt was hanging around, and Vanderbilt gets a touchdown late, makes it 27-24. They don't get the onside kick. Vanderbilt's a good little football team. Texas, they won the game but they still dropped in the rankings. And you guys tell me, that's a weird one, because the thing I was thinking when I was leaving the game, we've seen that Vanderbilt's a tough team, and they were number 25, and they dropped out of the rankings also. You're telling me that Vanderbilt, who is number 25, they play, at the time, the number 5 team in the country, former number 1, they play them tough, they lose by 3. You're telling me Vanderbilt shouldn't go up in the rankings? Like, they got dropped out of the top 25. Isn't playing Texas to a 3-point loss in a game they were double-digit favorites? Like, why does Vanderbilt drop out of the top 25? Shouldn't they move up?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that there's certainly an argument to be made that they have played everybody tough, and definitely a team to hang around the SEC, a team that has showed you something. Now, another thing, shifting to the Big Ten, Indiana. Indiana hasn't trailed all year, haven't really played anybody, but I think at this point in time, I'm in on Indiana and what I'm seeing out of Kirk Cignetti, and I think they're in a position there where they could be a shoo-in for that Big Ten championship game, no?
Yeah, that's another one. Like, we're at the point in the season where, we're going to find out. And like I said there, we found out a little bit about LSU. And Indiana's another team where we're at the point we're going to find out. And I think we're finding out that Indiana's pretty good. I mean, they're crushing teams out there. And Indiana, right now you have just 3 teams in the Big Ten who are undefeated, Indiana, Oregon, and Penn State. You look at Indiana's schedule, it's that game against Ohio State. I think it's the second to last game of the season. Indiana has Ohio State in Columbus, and that's the game right there. The rest of Indiana's schedule, those should all be wins. I know they have Michigan, but it's Michigan at home, and we know Michigan struggles with the forward pass. So Indiana at Ohio State, that's the game right there, and you could wind up seeing Indiana in the Big Ten championship.
Zaz, what'd you make of the Buckeyes struggling against Nebraska before Penn State?
I didn't see the game. I was watching it on my phone. Like, I was keeping track on my phone the whole time. I'm obviously rooting for Nebraska there because I'd like the chaos. Obviously, Ohio State ended up pulling it out late. You look at Ohio State's schedule the rest of the way here, and I mentioned the Indiana game. Otherwise, the big one is this weekend at Penn State. If Ohio State wins that one, which I kind of expect them to, because you can't trust James Franklin in a big spot. If Ohio State wins that game, they put themselves in a situation where the last 2 games, Michigan's the last game, but it's in Columbus, and the game right before that you have Indiana. This weekend, that's the season for Ohio State at Penn State, and I'm expecting Ohio State to win it.
Zaz, where can people tune into you and make sure they catch along with everything you're saying?
Yeah, thank you. Of course, college football tailgate every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN Radio. This past weekend, we were in Nashville. This weekend, we're in Ann Arbor for number 1 Oregon and Michigan. I'm hoping it'll be a great game. I do not have high expectations. Who knows? Maybe Michigan can wind up hanging around. So that's where we are for this Saturday. And, of course, Zaslow Show 2.0, Monday through Friday. Every weekday, we're Miami-centric, and Zaslow Show 2.0 is available wherever you get your podcasts, and it's brought to us by Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Whatever injury you're dealing with, you call 911 first, then you call Anajar and Levine accident attorneys. Car accident, hit and run, motorcycle, slip and fall. You worry about your health, you let them get you the compensation you deserve. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733.
Mr. Zaslow, I appreciate you joining us as always. Great job. We'll talk next week, and then enjoy the weekend, all right?
Thanks, Zaz.
Awesome. See you guys.
Jonathan Zaslow at the Zaslow Show 2.0 and the College Football Tour, joining us there on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. On the flip side of things, we'll give our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet, and also give our final thoughts on World Series Game 3, Dodgers-Yankees. Tonight, stick around. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen. This week on ESPN 106.3, we've got it all. Baseball, basketball, and football. Tonight, World Series Game 3 takes over the airwaves. Dodgers and Yankees. Game 3, we go live to the Bronx, and you'll hear every pitch. No need to scan the dial. ESPN 106.3 has everything you need to hear.
Palm Beach County's premier college football event is back. Don't miss the 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, Wednesday, December 18th from FAU Stadium and broadcast live on ESPN. Last year's game saw in-state Rising Power USF beat Syracuse out of the ACC. What will this year's game have in store? Big names, big teams, big action. The 2024 Boca Raton Bowl, December 18th at FAU Stadium on ESPN. Don't miss out. Find out more at BocaRatonBowl.com.
Prepared to shelter in place.
This is ESPN 106.3.
It's a massive storm, 1,000 miles across.
Your home for Miami Hurricanes football.
Anajar and Levine accident attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-FREE. Listen, if you were in an accident, car accident, truck accident, slip and fall, trip and fall, injured on the job, workers' comp issues, call Anajar and Levine accident attorneys. They will fight for you. They do not get paid unless you get paid, and they will fight to get you the maximum compensation that you know that you deserve. Do not deal with the insurance companies on your own. That's impossible. They make it as such. Anajar and Levine will help you to take back control of your life. Again, you'll always talk about your case with an actual attorney. They answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you to take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Car accidents, truck accidents, slip and fall, trip and fall. Call Anajar and Levine, my accident attorneys. Anajar and Levine, accident attorneys. Take back control of your life.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
In the Kaseya Center and right here in downtown Miami is the Miami Heat take on the Detroit Pistons tonight. Tip-off 7:30. The Heat sitting at 1-1. The Pistons at 0-3. We're here live in the concourse next to the Miami Heat store. Out front, next to the Dwayne Wade statue, which was unveiled yesterday. Dwayne Wade, of course, the more storied player in Miami Heat franchise history, had his statue unveiled yesterday. He's going to be honored tonight at halftime. It's a packed program of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Mike Rizzo, Colin Rizzo, Kate Chumsland on the ones and twos. Back at the City Play Studios in West Palm Beach. We got Monday Night Football tonight. The Steelers taking on the Giants. Once again, the Steelers are taking on a New York team in prime time with Russell Wilson at the helm. Let's give our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet. Monday Night Football tonight on ESPN. It'll be an 8:20 kick in that one. Pittsburgh Steelers sitting at home at 5-2. They are 6-point favorites in this one over the New York Giants. Mike Rizzo, what say you on this one? What's your Monday Night Football pick tonight and score prediction?
Why is the Steelers' schedule so easy? That's my. It's. I mean, of course
they finished at the bottom. Yeah,
Colin. Of course, it's Pittsburgh tonight. I want to remind everybody: the Raiders, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Jets.
Don't hate on the Broncos.
Oh, I'll hate on the Broncos, Colin. The only good win on that schedule was Week 1 at Atlanta. And that was a game where Cousins put up 10 points. This Steeler team, when the hell are they going to play somebody? No, next week at Washington. Let's hope your Commanders are legit. Colin, give me the Steelers. I got them by 10 tonight. Give me I'll give you a score or two. Give me a 27-17. I got him 27-17 tonight. I think a couple of touchdowns for Daniel Jones. I think Russell Wilson will play good enough. No, I still don't think there's much difference between Wilson and Fields. 27-17. Give me the Squealers.
I agree that the Steelers are going to win tonight. I do not think they cover that 6-point spread. -6 on Hard Rock Bet for that Steeler-Giant game. I do not think that they will cover, but I think they will win. If I had to pick a score prediction, you know what? I actually got a finish for you. 20-18 final Steelers over Giants. The Giants miss a game-winning field goal to finish off the game. How about that?
Yeah.
20-18.
It's a bold prediction.
They miss a field goal at the end of regulation. The Steelers escape, move to 6-2. Who would have thought with two starting quarterbacks in that great defense that they'd be 6-2 in whatever everybody thought it was a great division has kind of faltered a bit. But Steelers, I'll take them in that one. That was our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet. It's Florida's official sports book. For the first time ever in Florida, bet on the Dolphins all season long. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if that first bet does not win. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms, conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Now I'm curious to see how. All right, Russell Wilson got his first game out of the way. He had a better second half than he had a first half. I'm going to see if he could build on that momentum a little bit. And there was certainly some momentum to be built on after that Jet win last week. 5-2 now. They have talent, and they've played well regardless of who's at quarterback. And the defense is going to put them in a couple positions there to succeed early on, and you already know that. But I'm curious to see how they're going to react to that, and more importantly, how Russell Wilson's going to progress.
15-13 are the last two. So 15-13 is what that defense has given up in 2 weeks. Now, the Jets' offense has been anemic as of late. The Raiders certainly don't have a quarterback. I understand they were against pretty bad teams. They're such a heavy defensive team, I feel like. But the last time I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers had a really good offense was with Big Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. I think we, at least for me, and some spoiled Steeler fans, I think everyone forgets how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is sometimes. And I know a lot of Steeler fans who are tired of hearing that. Colin, my best friend Zach is calling for Tomlin's job, calling him mediocre Mike and whatnot. But the fact that this team is going to be 6-2 at the end of the game tonight and in first place of the division, let's not forget the Browns beat the Ravens. So the Ravens are sitting at 5-3. The Steelers are going to be 6-2 after their win tonight against the Giants and first in the division. That speaks volumes to me of how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is with an offense that really isn't any good.
They could come out of this with 6 wins tonight, and all of a sudden with the rest of their schedule coming about, this is not necessarily a walk in the park. Commanders, Ravens, Browns, whatever you want to say about the Browns. They had the Browns twice, but other than that, the Bengals I wouldn't call a walk in the park with them as either. But they got the Commanders, they got the Ravens, they got the Eagles, they got the Ravens again, they have the Chiefs, and they have the Bengals. So that is a tricky finish to the year. All these guys got their divisional games.
Well, they start playing the division, similar to the Bears.
They saved all those AFC North games for the end of the year.
Right.
But if they can continue to progress, they have a formidable defense. It's a tough place to play. Defense also travels. They've stayed relatively healthy, and they got a good coach. Mm-hmm. So off of that alone, if they got 6 wins at this point through 8 weeks, you got to assume they're going to be in a position there to easily get a bid into that postseason. And that's all they care about.
One would think, in my opinion, 10 wins usually gets you there. It depends on what year, obviously. Do they have 4 more wins on the schedule? That's the question.
Probably.
Do they have 4 more wins? At Washington, that's a tough game. To your point, they play their division. They play their division
and they're not getting swept by anybody in their division. So you forget that. They're not doing that. So they're not going to go 2-4.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle. They're going to have to beat the division because at Philly, tough game. I know the Chiefs is a home game, but come on, man. Super Bowl champs, Patrick Mahomes, very tough game. They're going to have to win 4 games or so against the division. Now, I'm not saying they don't have a chance against the Commanders. I'm not saying they don't have a chance against the Eagles. I'm not an Eagles believer by any means. But those are very tough games to go out and play on the road. So I think 4 of those wins are going to have to come in the division.
Anything can happen. You saw it with the Browns against the Ravens. Anything can happen in the NFL. Steelers are putting themselves in a prime position there to get that playoff bid. That was our Monday Night Football picks presented by Hard Rock Bet. Russo and Rizzo live from the Kaseya Center. Miami Heat taking on the Detroit Pistons 7:30 tonight in downtown Miami, honoring Dwayne Wade at halftime. We're here live until 6. It should be a fun one between the Heat and the Pistons. You heard Theo Dorsey and Damian Perez filling in for Christian Cat, who's going to Game 3 tonight in New York of the World Series. They'll be at the game tonight as well. On Theoretically Speaking, you heard them. You can catch them weekdays 2 to 4 on these very airwaves on ESPN 106.3. World Series tonight, circling back. You are on the.
I'm on the Yankees.
You're on the team that the Yankees are not going to win tonight. They're going to win 2 straight.
Can I also, elaborate on that a little bit, partner? I mean, the MLB, they need the Yankees to win tonight. If the Dodgers win tonight, it's over. Don't get it twisted. 3-0, you ain't coming back. So the Yankees win tonight. They'll win again at home their next game. And then going into that Game 5 is going to be 2-2, and they're going to get incredible ratings.
So
I'm playing into the MLB.
That's just for the sake of the MLB.
I'm playing.
That's for the sake of the MLB.
I'm playing in this
do you
thing.
think the bats are going to wake up? What do you think is going to happen?
I think that the bats will wake up, and I think that the Ohtani injury might be a little more than what people are making it out to be. The shoulder. We'll see.
You don't think he's going to play?
No, he'll play. I just don't know how effective he's going to be. And I think there's something about going on the road. Yankee Stadium is a tough place to play. And
it would be tough if they had pressure, and I don't think the Dodgers have pressure on them now. The pressure's on the Yankees, and they're at home.
And that's why I think they're going to come out with their hair on fire. They know they have to win. This is a must-win. Don't get it twisted. Must-win for the Yankees from here on out.
Totally.
Must-win for the Yankees.
But that doesn't mean they will win. It doesn't mean that because they haven't shown any type of ability to hit that bullpen. I know they had that great inning in the 10th. And, of course, you got to rely on the Stanton heroics once again.
Colin, all New York needed to do was go home, baby. Give me the Yankees tonight.
You think they'll win the series?
I said Yankees in 7. I'm going to stay with it. I can't stand them. I hope the Dodgers win in 4. But I know the MLB, Colin, they have their this is the first step.
You're just talking about trying to get a rating out.
This is the first step of the picture. The Dodgers won their 2 games at home. The Yankees will win their next 2 games. The Yankees might win 3 games in a row, and we might get a Game 7.
Does Judge wake up?
He's going to need to. I'll tell you what.
They're not winning.
I can't
winning anything. They're not escaping tonight without Judge waking up.
Colin. I can't say that confidently. But I know Juan Soto is going to play well. I think Giancarlo Stanton, who's continued to play well, is going to play well.
They're not going to win without Judge. That's the problem. Unless the Dodgers put up an absolute stinker and Clark Schmidt goes 8 scoreless.
Soto and Stanton could easily hit 2 bombs and they win tonight. They don't necessarily.
2 bombs doesn't do it against the Dodgers. You're going to need a whole lot more than that.
Well, you hope someone's on base.
Again, that does it against the Guardians. That doesn't do it against the Dodgers. They have too many bats.
Twist that knife for me a little bit more.
If Clark Schmidt puts on a show tonight, they've already seen the bullpen basically 2 times.
Well, are the bats? So you think the Dodgers bats are going to travel? No doubt, no problem.
Well, Betts, it's not like it's a foreign environment to a lot of them. You know, Betts and Hernandez and all these guys have been there before.
Teoscar.
The question, of course, is Ohtani.
But it's a different animal. It's a World Series, Colin.
Ohtani hasn't even been great, and they've been able to win.
This isn't a game in July where you get an ice cream.
That's what I'm saying. Betts, Freeman, they've all been there. They've played in these big games. So that's why I get nervous.
You're wearing the parka. You're not going and getting the ice cream.
Bueller has started World Series games. He has been in these moments. This is an experienced group. You're going to win off heroics and heroics alone. And heroics is not just going to come from Giancarlo Stanton. It's going to need to come from the AL MVP and an all-world hitter that is hurting his legacy a tremendous amount by how he is performing in this postseason and, more importantly, this World Series in Aaron Judge.
No faith in Clark Schmidt tonight? Is he going to be able to go 5? I think he needs to go 5.
He needs to go more than that. He needs to go 6 or 7.
He needs to go 5.
He needs to go longer.
But let's be realistic. He ain't going 6 or 7.
Well, that's the thing.
Let's be realistic.
He's going to need to. You want to talk about be realistic? You just said the Yankees are going to dominate the Dodgers tonight.
They're going to win. I didn't say dominate. They're going to win. They're going to get a couple of home runs, or if it be Stanton or Soto. New York's going to win this game at home. They need to. Their backs are against the wall. I got faith in the Yankees to win tonight.
I think the Yankees are
I'm rooting for a good series.
I'm rooting for a good series.
I'm rooting for a good series.
So I'll root for the Yankees.
You hear it in my voice. I'm rooting for a good series. But I also think just how this postseason has gone. Hasn't this been like the storybook postseason for the MLB? Like, doesn't it scream that the Yankees are going to come back in this World Series?
You'd hope. And you're right. It only starts with 1. And especially tomorrow, the Dodgers will probably bullpen games, so there's the game to bomb them. You got to steal a game tonight. The backs are against the wall here. You're going to have
Bueller hasn't been untouchable in the postseason.
He was excellent his last outing, and it was one of the best. That was the best pitching performance I've seen.
That was the Mets. No, they were playing the Mets. Okay,
and his movement.
Now,
was
if we're
insane.
going to say it's a different animal, aren't the Yankees a different animal than the Mets?
No,
really.
No, I think the NL is a different animal than the AL. I don't think you're willing to admit yet how bad the AL was on that side of the postseason.
The guards, baby. What do you mean? We were one of the last 4 teams.
Even you can.
We were one of the last 4 teams.
Even you have a tough time admitting that. It's a different animal. But you got Game 3 tonight of the World Series. You got a sports equinox day. You got a full slate of NBA basketball. You got a full slate of hockey. You got a full slate of MLS postseason play. You got the Monday Night Football tonight. Of course, we're both on the side of the Steelers. I think it'll be close. Mike thinks it'll be far.
No, 10.
But the highlight of the night, the story of the night, of course, is Dwayne Wade at the Casilla Center being honored between Heat Pistons. Quite a classic they got. On that end, they got the statue right in front of us. Ton of media here in South Florida. We're here in Miami. It's been a fun one. Appreciate Kate Chumsland back at the City Play Studios helping us out in the ones and twos, making sure we go over the air. Appreciate Jonathan Zaslow, who joins us every Monday, at 5:20, giving his thoughts in the college football scheme of things. That was Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo here. We'll be back at it tomorrow from 4 to 6. Back at the studios. World Series tonight. Hopefully the Yankees can churn it out. Be happy, be healthy, be safe, be focused as we close it out today on a Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 20